Welcome back to the Marvel Movie Minute, the daily podcast which we smash apart the films of the Marvel Cinematic Universe into 1-minute chunks so we can analyze them in scrupulous detail. I'm Kyle Olson from the Road to Infinity podcast.
Hey, and I'm Rob Cabasco, and Kyle.
Yes, sir.
What's the weirdest non-edible thing you've ever eaten?
Well,
intentionally or not?
The first thing that goes to mind. Okay, so those of you with insect phobia, you might want to fast forward this part because when I was this is funny because I did not tell this story to my daughter yesterday, and so now I'll tell it here on the podcast because
this is yesterday.
Yesterday, this exact thing came up, and I was like, yeah, I'm not going to tell her the story because it'd be terrifying for her. So once again, spoiler warning for those of you with insect phobia, this is going to get bad. So I was at a camping trip with my family, and my friends were already in the woods, and so I went after them, and so I was running through the woods trying to catch up to them, and I jumped over a log and I said, "Hey," and I went and spit out, and I spit out a wasp.
Oh,
yeah.
What?
And then all of his friends decided to let them know that they didn't like me jumping over their hive, which was in that log. Yeah.
So what'd you do? Did you just bail?
I bailed, but they followed me. So yeah, it got pretty bad. So. Yeah, that was my encounter with wasps, and it was not cool, and I've had a phobia ever since that day. So the weirdest thing I ever had in my mouth was a live wasp. So I know that's not where you were going with that.
No, that's not where I was going at all. I don't.
So feel free to cut that out if you want to.
No, I'm going to leave it in because I've got nothing. I have nothing to add to that. Okay. I think when I was a kid, I think I ate a penny once by accident,
okay.
right? That's it. No, I didn't know where that was going to go.
I have a really boring story about eating a cow's heart, but
no.
Keep the wasp in.
We'd have to add in if you go to dim sum and you have chicken feet. No, forget about that. Okay, hey, listen. Stop. What am I doing? Because this minute, okay, the chase is afoot.
Yep.
Craziness is happening. This minute ends with one of the most ridiculous things I've seen yet in this movie.
Yeah, yeah, so we're getting the action. So action means we're going to have a lot of shots. We're going to have a lot of action with a lot of things going on.
Oh, we do have a shot count at the end.
Oh, you do?
Yeah,
okay, good. Because there's this is the thing. It's when these shots are coming so fast, and there's a couple of interesting choices they make in here.
Right.
And let's get into it. So when minute 49 ended, we were in a Humvee, and minute 50 picks up, and we're still in that Humvee as we're watching through it as it's jumping around, and we see the soldiers running through, and then we cut. And we see these Humvees are going full on through this. Well, it's meant to be a college campus, but we know that's actually a park. My favorite shot of this minute is the one where Bruce is sort of running along, and then from behind him, behind the set of trees, the Humvees come tearing around the corner. And I really thought they were going to take out that bench. And
there's a bench, and I fully expected the bench to be obliterated.
But no. And then they come back to it, and immediately, that same shot you talked about in minute 49, we see now a bunch of soldiers and Humvees.
The two trees.
Yeah, coming really nice through it. So you know that's how close they are.
Right.
Right behind him. So then from the pack of soldiers, Blonsky comes just racing through. It's a great shot. I couldn't find exactly how they did this, but I believe this is a wire rig where his feet are not actually touching the ground. I believe he is rigged up, and so he's actually right above the ground. And so the rest of the soldiers are regularly, and he's essentially Peter Pan flying through it.
And the digital effects that are taking out the lines.
They take out the lines.
So this is a wonderful panning shot.
Yeah.
You've got a whole bunch of soldiers.
Yep.
They're running.
Young guys,
so you've got
guys.
action, all young.
Yep.
You've got action plus the panning of the camera.
Mm-hmm.
You've got your main character, who is the only one in this shot with no helmet.
Yes. No gun.
No gun, no helmet. So you're allowing the eye to focus on him.
Yeah, see the difference.
And the great thing, in addition to whatever trickery they did to give him this appearance of just blowing past these guys and not them running slowly. No, those guys are all running at full speed.
Yeah.
He's blowing past them is they add a motion blur of foreground objects in the front that go by, and this wonderful sound effect of whoosh, whoosh, that just adds the whole scene.
Yeah, and
it's
I love
nicely done.
That it's practical.
Yes.
I mean, that he's really there, so there's some, I shout out to digital artists, and you do a hard job, but when you have a physical person doing something, there's always something about having the real person do it, or stunt performer, having a real human being performing the thing as opposed to a digital double.
Well, and think of how far we've come from where this movie was to a movie, like a future movie like Endgame.
Yeah.
Where thousands of computer-generated people are running,
right?
And it's actually somewhat believable,
yeah,
right?
Yeah, we're getting there.
So you can see where this is going, but this is clearly a great mix of practical and digital effects.
Yeah.
That immediately show you, well, I guess those needles were worth it.
That's right. Yeah, because like by the timeline of the movie, like last night till now, he's
right.
And so he blows past all of them, and then so that's when Ross is watching it, and we see Major Spar is in there too. Like we haven't seen her in quite a few minutes. She's in there in the vehicle with him. And then he says, "Blonsky, not yet." And so it's like, hey, you're my big gun. Like I don't want to save you. And so we see Blonsky stop, and then all the soldiers catch up to him, and they're all sucking wind. And they're all, and he's fine.
In a wonderful comedic moment in the midst of this chaos. Yeah, like it's awesome. He gets there, he holds his fist up with the thing to say halt.
Yep.
And the guys just sell the heck out of this. like they're winded, they're crazy tired.
Yeah.
And then Blonsky, and then, his response to Ross is, "Sir," and then basically to all these guys around him, "Look alive. This could get interesting." It's a great little moment. That whoever's decision on this was a nice moment to, again, I think Marvel does it best, putting in elements of comedy in the middle of incredibly high stress chaos scenes that really help to tell the story and to get you invested. Right.
Yeah. It's really, really good. It's really funny. So then we have Bruce running through the halls here too. So then he's running through, and you see him come around. Now, what's interesting in this particular set of shots is there's one shot that was clearly done at a very different time. I don't know if you noticed it when you're watching, but if you watch it like edit by edit, he comes running up and then makes the turn. They cut to a shot of him running like sort of like running along the side on rails, I guess, following. Right. And then they cut to a shot of him sort of running out from that hallway back into the thing, and that was clearly done at night because the sky is black.
Oh,
gotcha. I mean, it's once again, it's one of those things where like no one's gonna take the time to actually do it. But the shot from like inside outside, then like it cuts to clearly like the sky is black.
Ta-da.
I mean, like it was like I'm sure they got every Klieg light they had and just blasted the area to try and get as bright as they could because they knew it would be a half-second shot. I'm sure it was like a late night. They're like, we gotta get that one shot of him doing it.
We're scanning through all of our stuff,
right?
And we realize this is a
we need
pickup
you
that
run
we gotta
out
do.
from there and straight at the camera, and that's it. It was like it's like I say, it's a half-second shot or whatever. But I just found that very funny. Then we see the soldiers running through. So now we're back to obviously the building. So like now we've gone back from shooting at the park to the building, and so we see Bruce push past those two big wooden doors inside. We see him running through the library, I guess it is. Like
that's what he's entering. He's entering some sort of library.
So we see him running through it, and there's a great. And you're talking about the sound effects you had before of Blonsky running. Now we have a similar thing of him running through the stacks of books and the whoosh, whoosh, whoosh as they go through each of the stacks. I thought that was great. He's running straight down the middle, sweaty and intense, and trying to figure how he's going to get out of here, sweating. Like you can see him just wet, then runs up some stairs, and then finally gets a chance to breathe. And we see the soldiers are right on his heels, cutting through. And then we see actually, instead of going straight down the middle too, then they start going, oh yeah, he could be like hiding down one of the sides. We should probably send guys there too.
So interspersed, a funny shot is they cut to a shot of a Hummer going through an area, and Betty on foot.
That's right.
Chasing the Hummer.
I'm still here too.
Which I didn't really think that was funny.
Wow.
Like, she's wearing flats though, so it's fine.
That's true.
So it's all good.
Yeah.
So back to the stacks.
The inside thing. So he's like, okay, so the only thing that's really of value in here is the data. The data has to be protected.
No.
The only place I know how to protect it is there. So he pulls it out, and it's a SanDisk. I was right. Way back to their house, I was like, I couldn't tell, but I think that he pulls out. I think she has a SanDisk, and I'm like, it is a SanDisk.
Confirmed.
Vindication. So yeah, he takes a long look at it and then swallows it. It's like, okay, now maybe SanDisk paid for this to be like stomach acid versus USB drive. I'd put my money on stomach acid.
Now let's pull this scene apart.
Sure.
He looks at Ed Norton.
Like he's all the stuff that Rickson taught him. He's thinking of his stomach muscles. He's like summoning all that
energy. That's a callback to 35 minutes ago, right? Okay. Look, we gush about this. We gush about the acting and stuff because it is an important part of this, and we're obviously fans of this. Mm-hmm. He does a great job of going from. He's got this. The look he gives that USB disc is, I'm gonna murder you with my intestines. Right? I mean, it's just a great, look.
See, we give a lot of props to Edward Norton, but man, like his facial acting is on point.
Oh, it's phenomenal,
He is
right?
committed.
Now, but in that, he makes a ridiculous mistake. And this is my problem. So this is the old stock. I mean, this is a big USB stick, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's the ones that have like a cap, and this one I think had a cap with a lanyard.
Yeah.
So you pull it apart, and then the metal part, that sticks into your port, is there. He puts that end in first into his mouth.
Yeah.
No. You turn it around to the much more blunt plastic side.
Right.
You would know.
Yeah, that's the whole problem. Like, you're not going to get your stuff off of there if the actual part that goes into the computer, the port is
But not only
damaged.
that, the port's going to scrape your esophagus all the way down. No, you don't do that.
Yeah.
Give yourself a chance,
come
man.
on.
Anyway, that bugged me. Like, I was like, no.
Well, of the two choices he could have made to keep this in his body, I think he made the right one, though.
Good. Okay. All right.
So then we come back to, there's Betty again running, and as she's running up, she looks over and she sees something, but we won't know what.
That's it. Because
until
that's it.
minute 51.
She looks,
and she sees something we don't know what.
and that's the end of minute 50.
That's the end of minute 50.
He swallowed a USB drive.
Yep.
Blonsky can run really fast.
Yes.
Betty's a foot.
Betty is the third fastest runner of this group.
So we talked about. We started about a few minutes ago in the movie. We talked about the minute that was just one long shot of a conversation in a hall.
Right.
The part of the reason of that, because of the context, is so now we're at this minute. Minute 50 is 28 shots.
Wow.
Meaning every 2 seconds there's a new shot.
Yeah.
So the pacing has
on average, yeah.
On average,
yeah.
So the pacing has dramatically increased.
Yeah.
This is what you got to do with a movie. There's got to be a rhythm.
Action.
So we understand now why we were where we were.
Yeah, yeah. And so, and if you think about it in terms of filmmaking, that means each one of those 28 shots had its own setup that they have to get the camera and lighting and all that stuff. So yeah, this is why movies take 6 months to film. Right. Even though only 2 hours to watch. So we'll find out what Betty sees when we get to minute 51. In the meantime, if you're looking to upgrade your wardrobe here in 2020, we can help out. We've got Marvel Movie Minute and the Next Reel inspired clothing, or maybe you're looking for a mug. We've got those too. You'll find all kinds of stuff at our merch store at nextreel.com/merch. Check it out, and every thing you buy, a little bit comes back to us to help us keep the show a-running. So we appreciate it. So we'll see you back here for minute 51. Hope you had a smashing good time. Until next time, true believers.
Bye.